So welcome
Yay.
everyone to Tuesday Tales. I'm Helen Harwood Snell, and what I love to do is show you real examples in a live format. We are live. This is not pre-recorded of how you can take everyday events in your life and make them into stories that you can use in your business. And I decided to try a new kind of adventure with that this year by interviewing wonderful entrepreneurs on the program with me. And then I help create a story for them at the end of the interview. So we are joined today by the fabulous Christine Fernandes, looking great in her lady in red outfit there. And Christine is an entrepreneur and an advocate for women in business. She runs a fantastic group. She's the CEO of the Professional Women's Meetup, and she is all about empowering women. And we're going to learn more about Christine and that group in this interview today. So, Christine, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Such an honor to be here. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. So, let us get started. We have a half an hour. So, I want to know who Christine is outside of work. Tell me about Christine.
So I am also a mom and wife, devoted mom of two little boys, and they are 5 and 6 right now. And it is currently March break, so you might hear them in the background. I'm trying to keep them all hush hush while I'm doing this episode. I'm sure all you parents can relate right now with March break happening. It's just trying to balance it all. And so that's really who I am behind the scenes, is just really balancing being a mom, being a wife, and an entrepreneur, and just all of those things together. It's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I love it. I love, because I used to work in the corporate world. I was in the corporate world, and I guess we'll get a little bit more into the other things in terms of career. But for who I am, yeah, that's pretty much who I am now.
Okay, so I'm going to throw another curveball at you and say, when you're not a wife and a
Yeah.
mom, who
Hmm.
are you? What do you do for fun? Like, what are things that you like to do if you have that leisure moment to yourself, if the kids are away visiting grandma and grandpa or whatever?
Yeah.
What is it that inspires you, and what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah. Well, I'd say I am more of an introvert. So in my downtime, I really like to just recharge by being at home and just like sitting on the couch, watching TV, watching Netflix, or just that's my way to just turn my brain off when it's always constantly thinking about work. The entrepreneur brain, we're always like, I got this idea, I got that idea. So you just have to just relax a little bit and watch TV. So I like, for
Can
me, I
relate to
love
that.
reality junk TV. It's just love it. So just, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
helps me get back on track.
I think that's probably a commonality with a lot of, like, very busy, entrepreneurs, like you said, thinking all the time. You've always got something going on because it's very mindless, right? Watching television
Yeah.
is a very mindless activity. You're not watching, you know, uh, a documentary series. You're just watching something, fun and frivolous. I watch cooking shows because I love all things about food. So I watch Chopped and shows like that. And it's
Mm.
same thing. It's just mindless entertainment. You just, don't think about too much else.
I love food too. I could go on and on about food. And I get so hungry watching those shows.
Well, you know what? I get hungry, but I also get inspired, right? Like, I think I was making a dish the other day. My son's girlfriend is vegan, and they were here on the weekend. And I
Mm.
thought, oh, what am I going to make for dinner? And I found this really great recipe for this cauliflower chickpea curry,
Oh,
like an Indian
Gillette.
curry. And
Yeah.
I had no Indian curry spice. I had like a quarter of a teaspoon of spice, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So I Googled it. Can you make your own? And I made my own in a little, I have like a little, it's supposed to be a coffee grinder, but I use
Yeah.
it to blend spices and stuff all the time. I made my own curry and it
Oh,
was fabulous. And
you did
I wouldn't,
that?
yeah,
Wow,
I know.
that's pretty cool.
But I
Yeah.
wouldn't think of things like that if I wasn't watching a show like that that inspired me to be creative and try things that are different or substitute this
True.
ingredient for that ingredient or whatever, right? So that's
I
that's my
know.
that's my fun.
I love it.
That's amazing. So tell me three things that are like most important to you in your life.
Yeah, well, number one is family. I mean, without family, I just don't think there's too much else in life that I really have to look forward to every day. So that's really it for me, number one. And then number two, since becoming a mom, it's really changed my perspective on a lot of things and what's, really truly important to me. And so, the reason why behind I started Professional Women's Meetup 9 years ago. My 9 year anniversary will be March 15th in a few days, since had my very first meetup 9 years ago. But it just made me realize that having a supportive community is really important because, I felt really alone after becoming a mom, because, your life just completely changes. And all of a sudden, the friends that you had before are not the same friends that you have who are still sticking around. And I moved to a whole new city too after becoming a mom. So, and then, of course, the whole
Big changes, yeah.
pandemic and all of that. So, yeah, so the supportive community is number two. That's super important, especially as an entrepreneur. We can feel pretty lonely and alone at times. And what's number three? So, three really important things to me, right?
Yes.
Nature for me. I like being
Oh,
out
I
in
love that.
nature to recharge and I just like being by the lake. So I don't live too far away from the lake. And so I want to try and make more of an effort actually to spend more time just sitting by the water because it's such a beautiful sight. And we live next to Lake Ontario, right? And Lake Ontario is pretty big and it's gorgeous. And I just feel like we just need to soak that all up because we have it right here for us.
Well, and again, I think, as an entrepreneur, being busy, juggling all those things, and being around electronics so much, like we're going to
Yeah.
talk about your business. We're going to lead into that with being on Zoom calls and things like that.
Hmm.
That's pretty draining, right? And nature actually recharges us. So I
Yep.
love that that's one of your three most important things. It is for me too. I'm outside with my dogs like every day, twice a day, walking them and
Aw.
doing lots of things here in the backyard, trying to make a better space for us to be outside there too. So that's
Mhm.
fantastic. So you said 9 years with Professional Women's Network. So
Yep.
happy birthday, happy
Thank
anniversary,
you.
whatever you want to call it, coming up in
Yeah,
3 days. That's amazing.
I know.
Um, Tell us all about Professional Women's Network.
Yeah, so it was I founded it 9 years ago and I was at the time working in the corporate world. And it's funny cuz like just lately I just feel like I've really brought the my business to the next level so more people are seeing it and maybe just seeing it for the first time and they're just thinking that it's just something that just exploded recently. But no, this has been something that I have been consistently working on for the past 9 years. First 7 years, I didn't earn a penny. I was just doing it for fun. Like I was just wanting to get out of my current situation in the corporate world. I didn't like it. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I just didn't know what to do. So it was really cool to surround myself with those women who were already where I wanted to be at the time. And they were the ones that eventually got me to um, transform and turn into this entrepreneur who I am today. They just kept giving me the reassurance and the guidance along the way with their own experiences because they've already experienced. So it's just eventually you got to take that leap, and that's what I did. So it's been
That's fantastic.
I'm in the startup phase now of the business side of things, and so I'm between the 3 and 5 year mark now of business. So it's been quite the up and down journey, but it's that's how it is, right? Like
Yes.
business is not a straight line.
Yes, absolutely. So
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can relate to this very personally, but
Mhm.
I know that in your group, in your networking group, you're always wanting to empower women. So can you share with me, you know, like a big obstacle maybe that you had to overcome, or some obstacles that you think most female entrepreneurs face that we could maybe give them some advice on?
Yeah, yeah. I just think that, uh, you know, let's talk networking events and going
Yep.
to these networking events. I feel like, we all know we should, especially as a woman in business, like, it's super important to be going to networking events, but I think it's just you gotta be consistent in what you're doing, and you can't just go to one networking event and be like, "There, I did it. Now I've got all my contacts, and I'm, my career is gonna take off now," or "I'm looking for a job now. I'm gonna go to a networking event, and I'm going to, look for that job." Like, no, that's not how it works.
Or
It doesn't
sell
work that
something to
way.
everyone who's there.
You gotta be consistent, and there's so many
Yeah.
groups out there, right? So it's really
Yes.
you can be part of more than one. I know a lot of people who are part of Professional Women's Meetup are part of other groups as well, and you go between the different groups, and that's
Hmm.
great. You just have to find the group that really resonates with you and the people there, and not every group is going to be really resonating with you. So you really got to listen to your gut and form those relationships with people. It's all about building relationships. And that's really the obstacle that I had to overcome, was really to build those solid connections, because that is where I am today because of that work that I put in. So it is work. It
Yeah,
is work.
fantastic. I know I remember hearing, I'm going to say this was probably maybe 3 years ago, that I never even thought of networking in this way,
Yeah.
that somebody explained it to me that like this is marketing, this is advertising for your business. And so
Yeah.
you need to put the same focus on that. If you're paying to attend a networking event, it's the same as, you know, buying an ad on Facebook, or, you know, taking up
Yeah.
a billboard or whatever it might be, whatever form of advertising. And but it's also probably the best form of advertising there is, right? Because
Mhm.
you are showing up as yourself, you're meeting people one on one, you don't have to worry that you have, you know, graphics or wording or whatever in some kind of paid advertisement. You're just showing up as yourself and making those connections with people, and that made such a difference to me in the way I networked when I suddenly started thinking like, this is paid advertising, that's what I'm doing, and
Mhm.
I need to show up my best. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, and it's also a business write-off, when you attend these networking events, and,
Yes.
it's you really have to, um, dedicate yourself to it, and I just think that a lot of us maybe lack that motivation because we're just, like, stuck in our day to day, and we don't sometimes see the immediate return on investment, because that's what we're looking for when we go to networking events for businesses. We're looking to find new clients. So if you're hungry and you're looking for those clients, like, don't you feel that energy off that other person at a
uh,
networking event when they just
oh
feel
yeah.
like they're looking for their next client?
Yeah, yeah, you feel a bit like a meal.
You do.
So
Yeah.
I want to ask you too, because I think this is one of the great things about your networking platform,
Mhm.
is that you're very much, um, how do I want to say this? You try very hard for people not to push their businesses, to make it about relationships during
Yeah.
the networking call. So I wonder
Mhm.
if you could explain kind of why that premise,
Mhm.
and how people can still book business if they're, you know, just in these conversations in the networking event. I would love for that philosophy to be shared with people, because I think it's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, yeah, that's always been my approach. And I really go off of what people's feedback is, based on, having attended a networking event. And always been really open to that and having two-way conversations with people, good communication skills. That's a really, really important thing to have when you go to networking events. And you don't have to be the best communicator, but it's just putting yourself out there and learning those skills. So the more you do it, it's like exercising, you're going to get better and you just have to start somewhere. So just do it and just start having those conversations. And it's really all about having conversations with people and small talk. I know it's not always fun to have small talk. Like sometimes it can be awkward, especially when you're talking to someone that's like so different from you and you have very different personalities. And sometimes like opinions can come into play. I never like it's never good to give your opinion at a networking event, especially when you don't know people.
Yes.
Uh, but yeah, it's generally though I find that the vibe with my network is always really good, and I, like you said earlier, I care a lot about my members, so I work very hard with each and every single member that is a part of this networking group, one to one. I have an onboarding call whenever somebody joins to ensure that whatever it is that their goals are, that they are working towards them. And I feel like that's the most important thing, especially for women in business.
Absolutely. And one of the things I just want to share with listeners, if they haven't attended one of your events before, is that you offer so small group chats, like it might be 3 or 4 people in a room throughout the meeting, and that happens like usually 4 times,
Hmm.
and that there's a question. So if you aren't a great conversationalist, don't be
Hmm.
scared, because there's actually a topic for you to talk about, and that really helps alleviate that tension of, what do I say? I don't,
Yeah.
all of these ladies are successful and I'm not, or they're all married and I don't have kids, or whatever. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about any of that, right? And I
Hmm.
really appreciate that. And the
Thank you.
fact that um, that the encouragement to connect with people outside of those networking events, you can reiterate this for me, but
Hmm.
that's how you get the business, right? it's
Yeah.
it's it's taking those relationships and making coffee chats, making, in-person meetings, if it's somebody who's local to you. That's where
Hmm.
you're actually going to build your business, is through developing those relationships. And they
Yeah.
have to be strategic, right? You can have conversation with lots of people on those calls, but you're going to know who it is that you resonate with, and those are
Yeah.
the people that you actually need to follow up with. And that's a huge part of what you encourage people to do as well, is follow up, make sure you book a coffee chat. So
Hmm. Yes.
yeah, so that's great. And I think the growth of that group now too, it's very much global now,
Yeah.
as opposed to being, originally it was kind of geographically centered.
Yeah. I was
Um,
my roots. I say my roots are in Toronto.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, is there maybe a success story that you could share for someone from that professional women's network that you think might inspire our audience?
Yeah, of course. So I remember one of my VIP members. She joined the VIP membership after this, so it was her first time at one of my events, and she was just starting out in the real estate industry. So she hadn't yet found her first client, but it was at my event that she found her first ever client, like just like
Amazing.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, it happened, and so she joined the VIP membership right after that. She's like, "I gotta be a part of this because this is a real testament to your network is your net worth."
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that.
Mhm.
Okay, so we are going to switch gears a little bit now, and I want to get
Yeah.
you to share a personal story from your life. So something that has happened recently, or something that maybe was a pivotal moment in your life, and
Mhm.
then we're going to turn that into a story that you can use to help promote the Professional Women's Network.
Sure, sure. So yeah, it was really the pivotal moment for me in my life, and moving into entrepreneurship was really when I became a mom. my life just completely changed. And so it gave me a whole new set of inspiration to now empower women on a new level. Now I have this knowledge of what it's like to be a mom and how to balance being a mom, CEO, a wife, and all these different roles that we as women carry in our day to day basis. And it's just like, you can do it. Like, if I can do it, so can you. And so it was really a pivotal moment for me to really start working on the business, because prior to becoming a mom, I was working in corporate. So I actually quit my corporate job after my second mat leave. I said, nope, not going back.
That's awesome. And how
Yeah.
many years ago has that been now, Christine, since you've been in corporate?
I think maybe 4 to 5 years now. So
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
yes, because you said your boys are 5 and 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 and 6. So
Five and
yeah.
six. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what I'm going to do is, although that's a great story on its
Yeah.
own, this is what inspired me. I understand women from the corporate sense, from the mother sense, the wife sense, all of those things, which really adds value to what you offer in your entrepreneur network. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a different spin on that. And I'm going to say that we all go through these changes in our
Mhm.
life. And
Yeah.
so, for you, you went through this huge upheaval becoming a mom. It changed your priorities. Sometimes we go through those same changes in our business. Something
Mm.
happens like COVID, and all of a sudden we have to switch everything online, or maybe there's a different competitor, or maybe AI comes into play and it changes how you approach your life and your business. And
Mhm.
being a member of the Toronto Professional, no, no longer the Toronto
It's
Professional,
okay.
the Professional Women's Network is
Yeah.
a great place for you to be supported by women to help you on that journey, to help you figure out how to navigate, maybe to collaborate with people or get coaching or whatever it might be to help you on that journey, because we all go through those changes as entrepreneurs, and especially as women, throughout the
Mhm.
whole course of our business lives. So I
Mhm.
hope that's maybe a story that you think you might be able to use and share with people
Mhm.
to help them understand a little better about the care and compassion that you bring to your business and the advice that you offer. I know we've had chats even before this call. You gave me a
Yeah.
tip on something about live streaming. And I
Yeah.
know I know you're always looking to help women out. So hopefully that's
Mhm.
a little story that might give you just a different perspective on that change. To becoming a mom is just an example of lots of changes that women have to go through in their business, and it can be, all sorts of different things. You know, um,
Mhm.
there's so many changes that can happen in our lives, and so just
Empty nesters.
yes, yes, empty nesters. Or I was thinking, suddenly I was talking to a woman the other day whose elderly parents aren't well, and so she needs to visit with them on a regular basis. Or,
Yeah.
you know, your husband gets transferred to a new city and you've got to start all over again. Like, there's so many things that can happen, and
Mhm.
so having that community and having like a group of real allied, trusting companions to go along with you. And I want to take it back too to what you said, when you started talking about 9 years ago when you started this group,
Yeah.
and it was just for fun and
Mhm.
inspiration, and it was a way for you to try and figure out what it is that you wanted to do when you left your corporate life.
Yeah.
One of the things you said is that you wanted to be around women who you aspired to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an important thing to maybe leave people with at the end of our chat here today, is that we are the result of the people that we spend the most time with. And so
Mhm.
it's really important to be around people who inspire you, but also to be in a community where you can inspire people. So,
Mhm.
you've learned from the community that you built, and now you are also teaching that community. And so it's such a beautiful reciprocal um, relationship. And I just really wanted to point that out, because I really took note of that when you mentioned that earlier,
Thank
that you
you.
you really wanted to, be around women who inspired you, and now you
Mhm.
are doing that same thing. So I think it's just the circle of life. It's just a beautiful, beautiful circle there that you've created. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
yeah. So just to end off, I want to, and I hope that it encourages you to think more about taking little moments of your life and turning those into stories that you can use on social media, in a sales conversation, in a presentation, in a book, wherever it might be. I'm available to help you with those stories. And Christine, I just want to leave the last word with you. I want
Yeah.
to let you share when is your next online networking event and how could people connect with you to try it out if they haven't been to an event.
Yeah, so my next event is actually tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can check out prowomenmeet.com and you can subscribe to the emails, or you can also click on networking events on the website and it will show you all of the upcoming networking events that we have available. And you can register for your first one for free to come check it out and see if it's your vibe.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been lots of fun. I'll
Thank you.
probably see you again tomorrow at noon.
Yes, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. And we'll just say goodbye to everybody. Thanks for joining tonight.
Bye.